4 stories, 1 night, and every single one of them changes professional wrestling forever. The ring general drew his line, a powerhouse career hangs in the balance, a legend gets his flowers, and the most powerful name in wrestling history just made the most shocking business move of 2026. Raw just delivered the most consequential single night of programming in years, and Suplex Rumble is breaking down every single second. Do not move. What is up, Suplex Rumble Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we never sleep when WWE drops something this enormous on us, and tonight, I promise you, we earned every minute of lost sleep together. I am your host, and this episode of Suplex Rumble is one of those special ones where I genuinely needed a second cup of coffee and a deep breath before hitting record. Because tonight we have 4 massive stories that each deserve their own full video, and we are giving all 4 of them the thorough, passionate, detailed treatment they deserve right here, right now, in one power-packed breakdown. Gunther calling out Brock Lesnar. Bronson Reed's injury update. AJ Styles heading to the Hall of Fame, and the Vince McMahon business story that has the entire wrestling world talking. Subscribe if you are new, notification bell, and drop a comment telling me which of these 4 stories absolutely floored you the most. Let's go all the way in. Let's open with the moment that sent the wrestling internet into a category of collective excitement that I have not personally witnessed in a very long time, because when Gunther picked up that microphone on Raw and directed his words specifically and unmistakably at Brock Lesnar, the temperature in every living room, every sports bar, and every arena watching that broadcast rose about 15 degrees simultaneously. Gunther called out Brock Lesnar. Directly, publicly, without diplomatic softening or political calculation. Just the cold, unambiguous challenge of a man who has decided that the only remaining question worth answering in his championship career is whether he can defeat the most legitimately dangerous human being WWE has ever employed. Now let's honor both sides of this potential collision with the depth they deserve. Gunther is the ring general for reasons that go far beyond a nickname. The Austrian powerhouse represents a style of professional wrestling dominance that connects to the deepest roots of the art form: technical mastery, physical punishment, psychological supremacy, and the unshakable conviction that nobody in that ring with him is operating at his level. His championship reigns have been defined by making every challenger look simultaneously excellent and completely outmatched. He does not just defeat opponents, he educates them about the gap between what they are and what he is. The chop alone has become one of the most talked about physical weapons in modern WWE. The sound, the impact, the way it resets the entire emotional register of a match with a single connection. Gunther's chop is not just a wrestling move, it is a statement of philosophy delivered in percussive form. And then there is Brock Lesnar, a man who requires no extended introduction to any wrestling fan on any continent, because Brock Lesnar's reputation precedes him into every room, every arena, and every conversation about who the most dangerous performer in WWE history truly is. The legitimate athletic credentials, the UFC Championship, the WWE Championship reigns, the Street Conquest, the Suplex City philosophy that turned an entire style of wrestling into a cultural phenomenon. The clash of these two philosophies, Gunther's European technical mastery versus Lesnar's explosive, legitimate athletics-informed destruction, is the kind of dream match that analysts construct hypothetical match structures around for years before it ever actually happens. And now Gunther has officially thrown the gauntlet down. Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Does this match happen? And if it does, who walks out on the other side of it? From the electricity of dream match territory, we now move to news that carries a different kind of weight entirely. Because Bronson Reed, the Australian powerhouse who has been building towards something genuinely special on the Raw roster, is dealing with an injury situation that has cast a significant shadow over his immediate future in WWE. Before we get into the details, let's take a moment to properly appreciate who Bronson Reed is, because this man deserves his flowers while we are discussing his situation with the seriousness it warrants. Bronson Reed is the kind of performer that makes you rethink the entire category of what a big man can accomplish in a professional wrestling ring. The size is immediately apparent, but it is everything attached to that size that makes Reed genuinely special. The agility that defies his physical dimensions. The comedic timing that makes him unexpectedly endearing alongside his legitimate menace. And that tsunami, his top rope splash finishing move that looks, every single time it connects, like it could legitimately end a human career, which is exactly the visceral impact a finishing move should produce. His injury arrived at a particularly frustrating moment in his character development. The momentum had been building, the storyline positioning had been improving, the sense that Bronson Reed was approaching a significant career inflection point was becoming visible to everyone paying close attention. Injuries in professional wrestling are the cruelest interruption the sport produces, because this is a profession that demands extraordinary physical sacrifice week after week, and the athletes who make those sacrifices deserve better than to have their momentum stolen by a body that finally reached its limit. To Bronson Reed, from every member of Suplex Rumble Nation, we are in your corner. Take the time, do the work, come back stronger. The roster will be waiting, and so will we. Drop a comment of support for Bronson Reed below. Let's show this community's heart. And now we arrive at the story that made me smile wider than anything else on this week's wrestling news cycle. Because sometimes professional wrestling gets it exactly right. Sometimes the recognition arrives for exactly the right person at exactly the right moment, and the entire community responds with one unified, joyful, long overdue voice. AJ Styles is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I want everyone reading or watching this to genuinely sit with that sentence for a moment. Not rush past it. Not treat it as a checkbox on a news summary list. Actually feel what it means. AJ Styles, the Phenomenal One, is one of the most complete professional wrestlers this industry has ever produced. The argument is not close. The resume is not debatable. Across TNA, across Ring of Honor, across New Japan Pro Wrestling, across WWE, AJ Styles has performed at the absolute highest level available to him at every single stop and elevated every single stage he stepped onto. Think about the range of what this man has accomplished. The technical masterpieces. The aerial spectacle. The promo evolution from beloved babyface to one of the most genuinely compelling heels in modern wrestling history, driven not by character reinvention but by deepening, by adding layers to an already extraordinary foundation. The Styles Clash. The phenomenal forearm. The calf crusher. Moves that became iconic not just for their execution but for the meaning audiences attached to them after years of emotional investment. And think about what AJ Styles meant specifically to the generation of fans who followed him through the independent circuit and international promotions before his WWE arrival, because for those fans, his WWE debut was not just a signing, it was a validation. It was proof that the wrestling they had been watching, loving, and advocating for on smaller stages was worthy of the largest stage in the world. He arrived in WWE and was immediately exactly what everyone who had watched him for years knew he would be: a main event performer from his very first moment. No adjustment period. No gradual build to the top. Just AJ Styles, exactly as advertised, delivering at the level only he could deliver at. The Hall of Fame honor does not add to AJ Styles' legacy. His legacy was already complete and extraordinary before any institutional recognition. What it does is allow professional wrestling to officially say, on the record, in permanent form, this person is among the very best who ever did this. And that acknowledgement, for a performer who gave everything to this craft across his entire career, is simply and beautifully correct. Phenomenal. In every sense of the word. Always. And now we arrive at the story that extends beyond wrestling programming, beyond championship matches, beyond Hall of Fame announcements, into the territory of genuine sports entertainment business history. Reports are circulating across multiple credible wrestling news outlets suggesting that Vince McMahon is involved in active efforts to reacquire a controlling or significant ownership stake in WWE, the company he built from a regional wrestling promotion into the most recognized professional wrestling brand in the history of the world. I want to be extremely deliberate and responsible in how Suplex Rumble addresses this story, because this topic carries dimensions that require care, accuracy, and appropriate acknowledgement of complexity. Here is what the available reporting suggests. There are active conversations at significant financial and corporate levels regarding Vince McMahon's potential return to WWE ownership. The specific structure, timeline, and likelihood of any such transaction remains a developing situation with multiple variables that have not been publicly confirmed in comprehensive detail. Here is the context those reports require. WWE's current corporate structure exists within TKO Group Holdings, the merger entity that combined WWE and UFC under unified ownership. Any ownership change of the kind being reported would be a transaction of extraordinary financial and regulatory complexity. It would not be a simple or quick development. It would involve stakeholders, regulators, and contractual considerations that extend far beyond any single individual's desire to reacquire an asset. Here is what